A warm good morning to all of you. Hope you are enjoying the Corona time. Stay safe, stay home. Okay, so there is a slight change in the prior schedule. Today we are assigned with Mr. Srikesh, and due to some technical inconvenience, we are arranging today's session with another resource person, Mr. Rakesh Ramachandran. Okay. And the Srikesh session we will arrange on most probably Monday. The information will inform you through the WhatsApp group or the mail. So hope you all cooperate with us. Thank you once again on behalf of Department of Computer Science and Yuvakshetra College. To start today's session, I invite Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Ms. Remya R. as MC of today.
Good morning to all. A warm welcome to one and all present here. Myself, Ramya, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Yuvakshetra College. Respected Director, Reverend Dr. Matthew George Varil, Principal, Dr. Tommy Anthony, Vice Principal, Reverend Dr. Lalu Olikar, Head of the Department of Computer Science, Ms. Meena Jos Komban, today's resource person, Mr. Rakesh Ramachandran, and all the research fellows, faculties, colleagues, and my dear students. If you are looking for a helping hand, there is one at the end of your arm. Let me start today's session with that quote. Once again, I cordially invite you all to the final day of our 3-day international webinar, Light My Fire, organized by Department of Computer Science, Yuvakshetra College, Palakkad, Kerala, India. Now, let me invite our Vice Principal, Reverend Dr. Lalu Olikar, to address the gathering. Father, please.
Good morning, my dear friends. We are witnessing the 3-day international webinar arranged by the Department of Computer Science of Yuvakshetra Institute of Management Studies. And these days, I'm very sure that participants enrich a lot and they benefit themselves in the field of computer technology and practical applications of that. And today, we are blessed with the presence of Mr. Rakesh Ramachandran, CEO and co-founder at Kubricks, US, Ireland, and India. And since this is an immediate arrangement, I should sincerely thank the resource person for his availability and also his willingness to help the institute when there was an extreme necessity. And today's session is essentials of becoming an entrepreneur. And this is a very relevant topic and very useful for all the persons who would be looking high positions in their life and also to imprint their personality in something of their own. So I sincerely thank once again the resource person, and I congratulate the Department of Computer Science, especially Ms. Meena Jos Komban, the HOD, and all the colleagues for contributing greatly to the realization of this program. I'm wishing all the best to all the participants. I conclude. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Principal. This is Rakesh, and a warm good morning to all of you. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you and being able to interact here.
Thank
So
you,
maybe
sir.
I could turn
Thank
on
you,
my
sir.
camera so
Thank you,
that,
sir. Just a minute.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Father, for your valuable words. Now, I do thank all of the participants for your support and participation in the last 2 days. And we are highly fortunate to have the eminent resource persons in all our sessions. Today, we also have another eminent person, Mr. Rakesh Ramachandran, to lead the session on essentials of becoming an entrepreneur. Now, let me invite Sir to lead the session. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. And let me also start a bit of presentation. Okay. And give me a minute. All right. I hope everyone is able to see the presentation now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Now, dear friends and faculty, students, everyone, one of the reasons, although it was on a short schedule, I put this topic because I believe that some of you would become an entrepreneur, not everyone. Uh, so the percentage population of being an entrepreneur is 1% in the population. And one of the reasons why we require entrepreneurs is, some of you will become engineers, some of you might become doctors, some of you will become technicians. You would have various fields at your life. But who would give you the job? Someone has to give you a job. There are only two avenues for you to get it. One is being employed in the public sector, that is a government. And the second is being employed by a private firm. Now, someone has to build a private firm. The public sector will be built by the government, but the private sector has to be built by an entrepreneur. So it is very essential to understand how a company gets built, how you as an individual is able to build an organization. And what is entrepreneurship? Is entrepreneurship creating a store near your house and then selling a goods or service? Is that what an entrepreneurship is? Or is entrepreneurship some kind of, let's say I go to a stock broking market and I make money? Is making money an entrepreneurship? So it will become very critical in your life some point to understand what it is to be an entrepreneur, what is entrepreneurship, how companies, organizations gets built. For example, your college is an entrepreneurship because this college was built by someone. An idea, an inspiration leads you to build something. And what are the essential characteristics and personality qualities that you would have as an individual, which will help you to build an organization? So that's the crux, what I'm trying to tell you. As a personal story, I've never been into college. Of course, I've been educated myself. I'm a self-educated person. The last time I think I went to a couple of colleges and finished only the first semesters. I had to drop out due to various reasons. But I always love my association with educational institutions. So let me give you some tips, some personal tips as well as to how I build it. Now let me give you a small background. I'm now 32 years old. Started my career at 18 years in Bangalore with Dell Computers. Worked through the corporate ladder till 25, 27 years. I was a team manager by 25. I was going to a couple of colleges for campus visits, recruiting people and all that. And I was still feeling, it's like a hunger. You still feel you can do much better in your life. And that is when I came back and said, okay, this is what I need to do. You take a decision and you step into it. We'll cover most of that journey. How did that happen as well throughout our presentation? So let me start with the first one. What are the essentials of being an entrepreneur, and is it a journey worth taking? Now, why I say it's a journey worth taking, because 99% of the companies or organizations that people start do fail. The failure rate of startup in the first year, out of 100 startups that are created, 90% of them fails. That is, 1 in 10 startups only passes the first year. Now, what happens in the second year? In the second year also, 90% of them will fail. So failure is right at your doorstep. The first time you're going to attempt it, you're most likely to fail. And unfortunately, there is no school, there is no course, there is no degree that can help you do this job. Because this is a job, or this is a path which you take as it comes, and one for which you have to be ready, mentally prepared. So that is why I say essentials. How do you become mentally prepared? And you have to look deep within yourself whether you have that mettle to create such a journey. So let's start with some of the first few things. This is a quote by Vivekananda, and this was given to me when I was in my 11th standard by principal. I was studied in a Kendriya Vidyalaya. So he gave me this quote during the admission time, and I kind of carried it forward from there. Purity, patience, and perseverance. So these are the essentials of success. No matter you are an entrepreneur, no matter you are a simple layman trying to get a corporate job, or you're trying to get anything in your life. So what is purity? Is focus. Purity is also passion. It's also love. So how do you become an entrepreneur? First starts with passion and love. If you look at your life, you have to look at the whole life, and you will find an idea or a topic or a subject inspires you the most. For some reason, it has been sticking in your head. No matter what you do, it kind of keeps coming back. And you try to give, kind of put it away, and still it comes back. And that is something I call it as a passion. You're kind of passionate about it. That's why it keeps coming back. Now, why do you need passion? You need passion first to remain focused. You need passion to have patience, and to have perseverance. So that is your starting point. If I'm an individual who is not passionate about anything in my life, well, then your life is not very worth living. Now, no matter what you do in your life, what degree or course or anything that you do, find something passionate in your life. That's the first step. If you don't have it, look around. Read books. Go to various things. Attend, like this, you can attend hundreds of webinars. Don't rest till you get it. It's like, you have to find your perfect lover in your life. How are you going to get it? Of course, you're going to audition many people for it, but then when you get it. It's very simple. And you will feel it in your hearts and minds that this is what I want to become. So what are the things that passionated me? I was a great science and physics student. I was passionate about high energy particle physics, which is also called quantum mechanics, various other sub branches like quantum chromodynamics, etc. So that has been a great passion for me. And I've been reading it, although I've not went to a college or anything, I've been reading it, I've been, learning it all throughout my life. Second, I was passionate about nature. So my first startup was actually into organic supply chain, and I was trying to create something related to that, because that was very closer to what I want to do. Now, let me also tell you, it is not necessary that when you're passionate about something, it comes to you immediately, and the life will arrange the circumstances for you to do something about it. For example, when I read quantum mechanics, I was just in 8th standard in my school. It's not that I had a physics teacher who explained it to me. I just found it in books. I was a voracious reader. I could read like a couple of books in a day. So now, when I wanted to become an entrepreneur, all that came back. All that memories, all that knowledge, everything comes back to you. So that is how you know. That's one sign of it is a passionate topic. And I was also even recently privileged to go invited to London to present a topic on quantum-based encryption and blockchain. So I could see that the whole life actually came back when the time was ready. So being passionate is an essential thing. Go find in your life what you're passionate about. No matter whether you want to become an entrepreneur or not, if you want to become something in your life, you have to find it. And that's the only way to do it. And it's not an easy way. You will have to do a lot of soul search. Second is patience. Everything takes time to build. Your college, for example, has been built in years. You can't expect it to be in months. Similarly, your journey is going to take a lot of time and you need a patience. This is not a sprint of 100 meters. It's a marathon. So one of the advices that I give sometime to people, even I want to recruit such people, is that can they run a 10 kilometer a day? Maybe that will help them to understand what the journey is. I'm sure if you ask all of you ask yourself, can I run a 10 kilometer a day? And you will say, oh no. But if you start training, you can practically do it within the next 3 to 4 months. You can train yourself for that. And while you train yourself for that, you will discover patience. And you will also discover that you need passion, because many of the time you would feel like, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm so tired. Then the idea comes back to you and it pushes you one more inch. And that just one more inch can make a whole lot of difference. So patience is must. And the other part of the thing is, life gives you a lot of chances to succeed. You don't have to succeed in all the attempts that you do. You have to succeed only once. And then the world will celebrate you. The world will take you and make you an icon, whatever it wants to do. But the truth about life is you have to be only successful greatly only once. And that is true for entrepreneurship. That is true for everything. If you build your first startup or your second or third, and you became successful, you sold it, that is, you took it to public, made a great company, you're there. And then life will always celebrate it. And you will then be in a different thinking. So an interesting part was my investor from Ireland said to me personally, Rakesh, your life will change the first time you make $1 million. So imagine if you had $1 million is equal to 7 crore in INR. If you had 7 crore in your bank account, what are you going to do in your life? And then it also reaches a point where you will have enough money, but you will not know what to do with it. That's the other funny part of life. The life starts with a paucity, or I would say resourcelessness of things. And then life takes you to a point where you will have more than what you need. And then all that you do in your life is thinking what to do with this. So this is how the journey sometimes. And this is, I would say this happens only when you become successful. May not be, it may not be relevant when you are a failure. But when you're failed also, it is good to remember this, because that will push you to start the next journey as well and try to become successful in that. There are countless stories around this. Abraham Lincoln's 7 times to become an American president is a good story. There is also a story, I think, in Aesop or fables where a king tries to win his kingdom 7 times and the spider kind of shows him the way. So you have all heard this in your young days. Stories are great. Stories help you to remember certain key ideals and statements in life. Okay, so let me come to the perseverance part. What is the difference between patience and perseverance? Perseverance is doing something repeatedly, even though you're failing, with different techniques. Patience is the ability to wait for the result as well. Now, so that's about the first part. So the summary is very simple. You're going to find your passion, you're going to be patient, and you're going to have a perseverance. Now, the next thing is building teams and companies. Now, your journey is not alone. You're not the lonely guy in this journey. You need a team. A team makes a company. Now, that's the reason why I put in building teams. A team is a collection of people who are committed to a common goal or an idea. So if two friends of yours and you come together to do something in life, now that's a team. You have a common goal and you have a vision. A vision is something which is not yet a reality, but it can become a reality. So a team has to be created first. Now, how do you pick a team? First thing is a common goal. And especially in startups, the first few team members, up to almost 3 to 4, even up to 10 sometime, are people who have the same passion, the same love. For example, when we formed Kubrics, I had the inspiration to do, I was sitting in a small village in Kerala and I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do in my life? What is the best idea that I could come up with? So I had this idea, you could build what is called as a encryption or a security system, which uses the properties of quantum mechanics. I said, wow, this looks great. Even if I become a failure, it's worth doing it. And then I said to myself, I started working, contacting people in my circle and said, this is what I want to build. Some of them said it's a moonshot. A moonshot is something like you shoot at the moon. You never know where it's going to land sometime even. And it looks like a largely improbable task. So the next thing I did was to build a team around it. So how do you build a team? You propagate your idea. You speak to 10 people, you speak to 100 people, and maybe you will find the next person who loves the idea. So I had an individual from US who was interested in this. Thanks to internet and Google, you can communicate with everyone in this world now. So sitting in the village with a flaky, not so good internet connection and working with the US person, he was interested in a new technology called as blockchain. So I'm talking in 2016, 17, where blockchain as a technology wasn't, even now it is not mainstream, but it's still emerging. So we were talking in the early days. And we worked together to create a system which was combining these two. So I architected it. And I said, okay, so the architecture theoretically looks great. We were reading all the scientific literature and research reports. And I said, we should now start doing a prototype. So we need a person who can code this. Luckily, I found through a colleague of mine, his brother, who was sitting in Dubai, and he was in his 40s, and he was thinking what he's going to do in his life as well next. And I said, this is the idea. Let us do that. So that is how the team was formed. And this is what I would say, how you get a team to work for you. Go search in the world. Don't limit yourself to a village or a town, a city, state, or a country even. The world is filled with resources. You just have to ask for help. I've faced that in many times in my startup journey, that if you ask for help, people will give it to you. A good example of that was, so we wanted to form the company, and We wanted to do it in US. We did all the research whether we could do it in India and US. We said, okay, doing it in US is kind of great. That's where the technology hub is, so we should do it there. So I happened to call a friend of mine in Silicon Valley and said, do you have any lawyers who can do this for me, incorporate a company? She kind of referred me to a couple of people, and I set up a meeting with one of them, and I called him. So again, Google allows you to call using Hangouts US numbers for free, so you can call them. And I called this gentleman, and I didn't go through his background or something much. I just called him and said, thought he's a lawyer, he's going to incorporate a company, so let's see what we can do. So I called him up and said, this is what we want to do, and we are short of money. The sentence I used was, seems like you're not going to make any money out of this. So the gentleman said to me, okay, Rakesh, I'll register your company and do all the things. Give me 0.5% equity in your company. That is shares in your company. So the gentleman actually responded to my request for help, and he gave me the first deal. So he said, I only need $500, which is about 35,000, and 0.05% of the company. Sorry, 0.5% in the company shares. And I was excited. Oh, a deal has been made. The company is going to get formed. And my friend in US said to me, do you know who the background of this person? I said, no. Who is he? He's just a lawyer. So the gentleman happens to be a Stanford educated lawyer, working as a partner, a senior partner in the most prestigious law firm in Silicon Valley called Fenwick West. And he sits on the board of Berkeley University. And I was like, wow, this is a person to work with. So what I'm trying to tell you is, one is ask for help. Asking for help will get you to the doors. The doors will open for you. The only thing that you don't get is sometimes you're afraid to ask for help. So asking for help is an essential part. Second is the team. You're not alone in this journey. The most important thing is you to actually make more people aligned with you. Get them interested to what you dream about. Now, so that's how the Kubricks was formed. Then we did many things in the US. We went through to programs there, etc. And we came across that. Now, so first thing, as we will just do a bit of summary, which will help you to understand the flow as well. We start with an idea, a passion, a love. Then we go to a patience, so that we wait for things to happen and have a perseverance. And when we are going to create an organization, when you want to bring your passion and love into reality, it is like a mother who has got conceived, she has become pregnant, and now she wants to get the baby outside her womb, and she wants to see it in reality as well. The baby starts running, and it gets born. So that's the journey it is. Similarly, you need a team, you need an idea. So get people organized, get people committed to your idea, and ask for help, and you will usually get it. And don't settle for something which is mediocre in your life. If you have 10 ideas, you have to ask yourself, what is the world doing today? And don't settle for anything mediocre. One of the things I've found many times working with many Indian founders and startups is that people want to take an easy journey. Now, you're going to fail both in easy as well as difficult journey. Your failure rate in startups are very high. So no matter what journey you take, the failure is always there, the component. But if you're going to do some mediocre work, how you're going to, get some love out of it? So you have to settle for something which is the best you can do. And that will help you to get to the next stage. So once we move from building teams and companies, we go to the next step, which is about the road to success and failure. What are some of the things that will help you to reduce your rate of failure and become more successful in the journey that you take. One is ethics. What is ethics? Ethics is not just doing the right thing, but doing the thing that you say. So, for example, criminal people have an amazing ethics actually sometimes. They said, I'll kill you, they're going to kill you. So, that is their ethics. Most of the time, you say many things and you don't execute it. So ethics is not just about being honest and doing the right thing, but also having the ability to execute what you say. Because you're going to have a lot of times where you will have to make decisions, very difficult decisions. For example, I fired my co-founder in US in the first year of my startups. 2 people I fired. I said, I'm not, why did I do that? I need to have an ethics for that. So it's also important to understand when you build organization, there will be many people with you during the first part of the journey, and there will be many people who will leave you as well. And you will have to rely on yourself to continue the journey. This is true even if you start anything, even a small startup. Maybe your family members may not agree with you. You might get kicked out of the house in literal terms. Your relatives might say, you're not doing things, you're a crazy person, etc. But what you have to understand is that these are all part of the journey, and you need to have a strong ethics. You believe in what you say and you do execute what you say. And you're very honest about it. One of the reasons we actually got an investment, for example, from Ireland was the investors very happy with our ethics. They said, you are ethical. What it means is, it's not that you don't have mistakes. You have mistakes. I have made many decisions which I kind of regret today, but still I stick with it. The reason, and I'm open about it. So that is what ethics is. It do apply to you even to your studies today. If during your interaction with teachers and faculties, etc. If you're ethical, they would love you more, and they will overlook some of the mistakes that you have made. Most of the time you have a problem with any of the other people is because you're trying to hide something. So this is not a journey for people who want to hide anything in their life. This is not a journey who are fearing something in their life. This is a journey for the brave. So that's one of the reasons why it is still only 1% of the population become entrepreneurs. It requires this kind of a beautiful mixture of certain qualities. Now, what if you don't have some of the qualities? The good thing is, build it. This is your time. You're young. You can build it. You can mold yourself to what you want to become in your life. Whether you want to become an IAS officer, or you want to become a politician, or you want to become a scientist, or you want to become an entrepreneur, you can mold yourself for that. You have an opportunity at hand and you have a door. So this is the time you should take it. Take a break from everything, maybe for a week or even a couple of weeks. Think what you want to do in your life and put yourself on that. And that is how you're going to find a bit more, a chance at being successful. So let me also tell you, destiny is always there, where you will do everything what we all discussed and you might still fail. Now that's what is destiny. But don't have any regrets in your life, because you will have another chance to become successful, and you will be only successful once. Like all the good people and great men, you can fail 100 times, and in the 101 attempt, if you're successful, and that's it, then you're history. Now, the other part of things are outcome and expectations. Now, this is an interesting thing to understand. Where, let's say you build a company, you think I own the company. No. Company is separate from you. Company is a baby that you've given birth to, and the baby has a life of its own. Now, if I'm a parent who gives birth to a child, and I would say I have complete control over this individual, this person. Unfortunately, no. Only to a certain time. Once a baby starts running, it has a journey of its own. And this is even true for between the relationship between you and your parents as well. Uh, they do feel that they want to control or own you, but sometimes you feel that no, I want to take my own journey, right? So this is the same thing. So for a company as well, this is the same part. What happens once you create an organization, it has a journey of its own, and it is very important for you to understand that there will be a time where you may not be even part of the organization. Because for example, famous example in entrepreneurship is Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, and he gives in his Stanford and couple of lectures questions asking, how can you get fired from the organization that you created? Well, that is possible because the company has its own journey. The other part is your expectations. It is very important for you to understand when you create an organization. Do you want this organization to be lifelong? One option. That is, you will live and get work for it and even die while that organization is there. That is one option. Or you could become what is called as a serial entrepreneur. So you create one organization, you can sell that organization, or you can take it to what is called as a public IPO. It is called as initial public offering. You can make the organization public, and then you can get out of it. And you can start one more company, one more idea in life. So this is something I leave it to you personally to consider if you ever become an entrepreneur. Look at that always, because that will dictate or that will set the terms on which you will have your company built. So one is, do you want to become a serial entrepreneur? Do you want to, it's like, you love 10 things, and can you do 10 things? May not be all at the same time, but you can do the most important the first time. And then once that is successful, you can move on to the next one as well. So that is how serial entrepreneurs are built. Good examples are Elon Musk. The guy actually created an electric car. Before that, he was part of PayPal. He did create an electric car, and then he said, wow, electric car is interesting. And he said, well, I'm going to be a serial. So he created the next one, which is sending rocket ships to Mars or to Moon. So which is called as SpaceX, which actually even now better than even NASA at sending people to space. They do it more efficiently, cheaper than anyone. So you could see if you are, so don't worry about your background. Why I say that, look at this example. Look at all the great people. Elon Musk doesn't have an engineer in aeronautical science and trying to create SpaceX. Neither he has an automobile engineering degree. So what you study may not be very relevant. It is not a handicap for you to start a company. The handicap for you to usually to start a company is your ability to learn new things. Steve Jobs, again, good example, didn't even have a degree in computer science. I think did not even go to a college, if you look at his personal history, but he created one of the finest technology companies. So your, what I would say, your drawbacks are fulfilled and, taken care by your team. So, for example, in Kubrick's, I'm not the engineering guy, but I know how to understand technology. My CTO does that job for me. He codes, he does the engineering. So if you have a drawback, don't worry about it, don't fret about it, because you will find someone who can help you with that. So the key question is, ask for help, be open about what your drawbacks are, be clear what you want to do in your life, and then move on with it. The next part is about expectations. Expectations that you have about yourself. Then you have expectations about what others feel about you. Your faculty, your teachers have expectations about you. Your family has expectations. Your relatives have expectations. Everyone has expectations. Uh, it's like the movie of Three Idiots. When each of them was born, someone thought, okay, this guy will become an engineer. That's an expectation that you have to deal with. And it is also quite important for you to understand it. You don't want to offend people, or you don't want to. This is not about creating a friction or fighting with people. This is just about understanding what they want from you and what you can give to them. The more you understand about yourself, you will have a clear idea what you can give to them. Yes, there can be disagreements and arguments, but you can be upfront saying that this is not what I am built for. For example, if you're a person who is loving poetry and art and things, engineering may not be something for you. Most of the time, failures happen in life, whether in college, education, or even in employment, or even entrepreneurship, is because you're not aligned to what you are in. At the heart of heart, you love arts, and then you're trying to do engineering. Or at the heart of hearts, you love engineering, you love science, you love the principles, you want to go in detail of mathematics and physics, and you're trying to pursue something else. You're going to do a management degree. It doesn't just work out that way. So always ask this in your life. Have your clear expectations, understand what people expect from you as well, and then you will have a greater purpose. Timing. Timing decides everything in life. Timing are life's turns in your life, where life gives you opportunity. For example, if I ask myself, what are the key things in my life that led to this? One was me actually finding a job at 18 years, working with great technology people, understanding, and by the age of 25, I was really good in technology. And I also work with some of the greatest minds as well. So it is not that, things are sequential. Things are not like 1, 2, 3, 4. Things are more circular. What you do today always comes back to you later at some point in time. And that will give you the necessary motivation to stay ahead of things. Don't get disappointed. Always look back in your life and think, what are the things that you can ask, the dots that you created in early part of your life, which will connect themselves when the time is ready. Now, what you're going to become in the future sometime can be easily understood by looking what you did in the past. Past is a very good way of getting an understanding about ourselves. So that's one of the reasons why I said it might help you to look at some part of your past, and then you would be able to understand how you want to move in the future. These are some of the things, and any entrepreneurship, let me tell you, is almost a 5 or 7 year journey. It's not a journey in the first 1 year. And other key tips that I can give you is, don't run behind titles. Titles and certificates, unfortunately, do not mean anything in life sometimes. What really matters is your character, your personality, your ability to go ahead and get something in life. So give you an example is one of the first recruitment that I did when I formed this new company, startup, was we hired someone with an MTech in computer science from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Dhanbad, ISM, it's called as Indian School of Mines as well. So we had this nice gentleman. He passed all the theoretical things, and we were excited to recruit him. And the first week of the job, we realized this guy is not made for this job. Not because he doesn't have a theoretical idea. He has a theoretical idea, but he's just in for a job. He doesn't want to do anything else in his life, no passion. So we gave him the easiest thing to do. Still, it was as simple as HTML coding. And this gentleman actually was not able to even get into that. So me and my CTO took a decision and went to him and said, it's not that you're not a great person. You are, of course, a great person. Unfortunately, we as a small company are not great for you. So we would request your resignation, and we will. So I also gave him 15 more days of pay as well and said, we'll treat you the best we can. Unfortunately, this is not the place where you can be. So it is very important for you to understand sometimes certificates and titles may not mean anything. I've seen some startups created by engineering college students, etc., where they're going to put chief marketing officer, CEO, chief technology officer. Wow. It kind of adds to the individual confidence as well. Yeah, I'm something in my life. Not really. Because if your startup is not successful, all these means nothing. So if your goal is to get titles, again, startup is not the journey for you. You can do better things in life. So that's one part. And the other thing is, be a bit tech savvy. Unfortunately, we all live in a digital age. No matter what type of degree or whatever you do, whether you're a writer, you are a lawyer, you're a doctor, you need to be very comfortable with technology. You need to learn how a computer works for some reason, because this is going to be a part of your life for a very long time. For example, on average, you will now spend about 30 to 40% of your time in life with computers. Good skill to have, learn typing. It will save your time. So doing a bit of multitasking, saving time is a good thing to have. You have to become productive in life. What is productivity? Productivity is very simple. The ability to do many things in less time. And that is productivity in one way. So that is something you have to learn. And this is the right time to learn that skill. Learn typing. I even tell my sister, who is studying for becoming a lawyer, I said, you're going to type all the things in life, all the documents. If you don't learn typing, how are you going to save time? So it's called as 10-finger typing, and you learn it. Second is being ability to understand a bit of computer, how to use a browser, how to troubleshoot your own devices when problems occur. These are now becoming essential skills in life. These are not the skills only for computer scientists, engineering graduates or something. These are skills applicable for everyone, because this is what will help you to become more productive and stay relevant in life. Another thing that you have to always look out is be open to ideas. The world is very changing. COVID has taught us that. In just few months, the entire country had to go to a lockdown, had turned digital. Everybody now is running for getting an internet connection. So the world is changing, and you have to be open to ideas. So when you want to find what you want to love, it's important for you to actually look at how the world is, be open to ideas, read as many books as you can. That's one best advice I can give you. So in my life, that has been very helpful, because it exposed me to many topics and fields which I wouldn't have got from a syllabus, for example. So it is very important for you to read, look at and most of the things are now available online. Let's say I want to do a degree in a particular economics. I can go to Coursera, I can go to EDX. Courses are even for free. You have the top world-class courses by Stanford or MIT or Harvard available for free. Lectures are available. All that you have to do is you have to become curious in your life as well. Curiosity is a very good thing to have. Asking questions is the first sign of being a great person. Ask questions, and that will give you a lot of answers and open you to more fields in life. And that is how you find your love, what you want to do in life. For example, when I was a kid, I would read all the books, including literature, fiction, non-fiction. Science became a great topic of my interest, and that has shaped my life. So ask yourself, what has shaped your life? If there is something which has shaped your life, great. Otherwise, Be curious and start look for it, and don't settle until you find it. So these are some of the things, and I just want to ask the organizer how many more minutes we have for today. Hello.
Sir, we have 12:30. Up to 12:30, you can take the class.
Okay. So why don't I play you a couple of videos? Okay. So that's one way for you to, I'm going to give you some few things to inspire you. Not boring. This is more exciting. Couple of inspiration videos that you should see, and that will help you to, understand how things are. These are all short. These are actually some of the great advertisements that has ever come in the history of life. And yeah, just give me a minute. I hope you guys all can see the screen. And
Yes, sir.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs and square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see geniuses. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
so this was one of the most successful commercials ever done by Apple. And this was done when Steve Jobs was fired and he came back to Apple. It's called a Think Different campaign. It wanted to show what actually Apple stands for. So it believes in people who are crazy, and they see the genius in those people who are not afraid to go for changing the status quo. So mostly when you are passionate about, I'm not trying to say that you should do a war or something. That's not the idea. The idea is when you love something, you will face some opposition. That is part of the life, but you have to stay together. You have to believe in what you think is a bit more crazy, and you have to go through that journey. So that happens with great people who have changed our life. For example, Apple created the way we would use computers. Elon Musk is changing the way we're going to drive cars. Now electric cars are the next future. All these are a bit crazy people, very difficult people to deal with. They're not very sociable people, one way. And if you want to become a sociable people, good luck. But most of the time, very nice, loving, sociable people don't have passion. So you might be a bit crazy if you're loving about something. And always there is a thin line between genius and craziness. So that's another tip in life. Another interesting thing is called as, it's called as perspective. Perspective is a nice one, which Apple made. It shows you the journey, what it takes to build something. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to show you this. And then I want you to watch this film, if possible. It's called as Chariots of Fire. It is a film made about a true story about two British athletics. It's a story where one British athlete wants to run because he wants to prove something in his life. He wants to prove to the outside world that he can do something. And the other person was called as Eric Liddell. He was a great Christian, and he said, "I'm running for the love of God." So his inspiration was spiritual, more moral and religious, whereas the other person was a bit more material, and he was running because he wanted to prove he was something in his life. So this is a beautiful movie. It's called as Chariots of Fire, and it can show sometime in your life what's the difference to run a race, whether you're running for the love of it or whether you're running for a material thing. I want to make money, so I create a company. Yes, that's a good reason, not a bad thing. You might be successful in both approaches, but it's a good thing to watch. And interestingly, the theme of this movie has been taken as the Olympic theme. So most of you might have even heard this before. Most of the Olympic theme is based on this. So I'll give you two more things. One is called as Perspective and the Chariots of Fire. So there you can see the code is very relevant. You are the difference between the world as it was and what it is going to be. All of you have an amazing opportunity at hand, and all that you need, no matter who you are, what your background is, what you need really is an inspiration, a conviction, and a commitment towards what you want to become. And it doesn't matter whether you want to become an entrepreneur or a great doctor. The principles are sometimes the same. So now coming back to the other good thing, I'm going to give you a bit of more things to carefully look at it. And I would definitely recommend you watching this movie. It's an all-time favorite of mine, and a small clip from it. And this is about a person who wants to run in his life.
He's had 2 races today already. He'll die. Just swing along, you guys, and wait.
Okay, so I want to give you an example story in this great movie. It's a real life story. So Eric Liddell was a devout Scottish Christian, and in Christianity there is a rule that you don't do many things on Sundays, which is called as the Sabbath. Eric Liddell was supposed to run his favorite 100 meters in the Olympics. And he refused to do it because it was on a Sunday. So I'm talking about ethics here. You believe in something and you will execute it. Imagine you have to run on you're a perfectly trained athlete and you have all the chances of medal and you're supposed to run on Sunday. And your moral and your ethics is against it. And Eric Liddell was requested by the British Prime Minister and the King of Britain at that time, saying that this is your country asking for you to make that change in your decision. Eric Liddell still said no to it. There is even the movie, there is a clip about it. You can definitely watch it. So imagine if Indian Prime Minister says, don't run on an Olympic medal, and where your personal conviction is not to run it. What decision will you choose in your life? That will dictate the whole course of life. This is where your ethics and honesty and things will become very useful. So the reality was Eric Liddell did not run for the 100 meters, but he was given a place in the 400 meters because he couldn't run on a Sunday. And imagine you are an athlete who is trained for 100 meters all the time, and suddenly you have to do a 400 meters. So that's the reason why the Americans were the favorites. They were supposed to win the medal. And if you see in the video that I showed you, the Americans are saying that Eric Liddell will have a problem with his muscles as soon as he completes 100 meters, because this guy was training only for 100 meters, not for 400 meters. So nothing to worry about it. And that's where the other gentleman comes in and says to his American team, you have to watch out for this guy because this guy has something to prove and he has a great inspiration. So as the true story occurs, Eric Liddell was on the extreme right, if you see, in the race, which means he couldn't see what the others were doing. He ran the entire 400 meters as a 100 meter. And he created a world record and he won the race. So these are real life people who have changed the way we look at things. And some of the reasons why they could do that is because they believed in it. So you also have to identify the purpose in your life, and the purpose of life will dictate whether you're going to become an entrepreneur or a good doctor. Find your purpose, have patience and perseverance, and then you will create a great history. These are, everything else, how to start a company, what are the procedures, all these can be learned. But what cannot be learned is this, because this is what you are. You cannot suddenly become a different person, right? So similarly, that is why I call these are the essentials. Knowing about how business works is not an essential because you can read it in a book and get it. But your character and personality, you cannot read it anywhere. You have to look at your life and decide about it. So that's the reason why I'm not going into the nitty-gritties or the technical details about a company setup and how people work, etc. Because you can find thousands of that piece of literature in the world. But what you cannot do really find is, how do you find your purpose in life? What you want to become? And how will you become? Those are the essential questions. So having said that, yeah, I think we should have more of question and answers, maybe, Meena, because that will help. That will make it a bit more interactive session, and I'll be happy to take more questions, devote more time on that if that is okay with you.
Okay, sir. Participants, you can ask any questions.
Yeah. So yeah, that could be good. What probably one of them could do is they can type in a question and we can unmute them so that we can hear their voice and we can reply to them. Maybe that's one method, or they could just put it in the chat.
Okay, sir. Okay, participants, if you have any questions, you can unmute your mic and ask now.
I think there is a gentleman called Love Way who has not been muted his mic.
Sorry, sir.
Actually,
Participant, please turn off your mic if you're not having any questions.
okay, so I'm ready for questions. Glad to help you the way anything that I can do. Okay, Mano has the question. Books for self-development, right? Manu, maybe you want to unmute and you want to ask more information. What type of self-development you want to do? What is the goal? Or you need a book to know what your goal should be? Manu?
Manu, you can ask now.
Okay. We'll wait for him to respond. Otherwise, yeah.
Hello.
Sure. Go ahead.
Sir, I'm Nagarajan from Nehru Arts and Science College.
Yeah.
Sir, in our country, the jobs generated through SME or through entrepreneurship are very low, very minimum. When compared to European countries and South Korea, more than 80% of jobs are generated. What's the reason? What are the initiatives, steps taken by our government, sir?
So, to give you a good, frank answer, we as a society, so if you look at India's history, right, India was ruled by many colonial nations, Portuguese, Dutch, British. So what we had taken is, one is we are not risk-taking society. As a society, we are not risk-taking because our immediate goal is what? Roti, kapda, makan. So roti, kapda, makan is called as security in life. It is not risk-taking. So we as a society are not risk-taking. What does usually parents or anyone tell you? Get a job. Obviously, then you will not become a job maker, right? You will only become a job. Seeker.
Yes,
so that's one thing. Whereas, and let's say you're a failed businessman, what will the society say? Oh, that guy actually failed. He's good for nothing. Nikamma, nakara, insan. That is what you will get. So an Indian entrepreneur has to fight with his family, his surrounding, his relatives, everything. And he has to risk his entire reputation, life, and go and do this. Now, how many people are willing to do that chance? Very few people. Now, talking about the government, so the funny thing is, government has created so-called many startup programs. And the startups are saying, these are all created by the bureaucrats. Where is the startup guy in this? Where is the entrepreneur there? They're not hiring entrepreneurs who are experienced and putting there, right? They are again hiring who is the head of startup department? Some IAS guy. So you're back to the square one problem. That is, you have a system of bureaucracy. It just doesn't work that way. You need people who. So Ireland is a great example. I was in Ireland. The government has created many funds, and it's so easy to in Ireland. You do a startup, they'll give you 40,000 euros first thing. They'll give you money to start a company. You don't have to pay back. It's as called as equity shares. You don't even have to pay back. And 40,000 euros is what, about 8 into 4, 32 lakh rupees just for starting company. So if government of India did that, I'm sure there would not be any person, job seeking. Everybody would have wanted to become an entrepreneur. But that it's partly because of the ecosystem. That is the reason why India doesn't have it. Things are slowly changing, but it is still not easy for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Rakesh, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have one more question. Jayasudha. Ma'am, you can ask now. Jayasudha, ma'am. She has mentioned in the chat box. Sir, can I read it?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Jayasudha.
Yeah. So see, I'm a facilitator. I'm working in a school. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See how to improve a self-confidence in a particular child. See, encouraging all the time isn't working in the child. I mean, if I tell him to talk like a stage, like in a stage, he or she is going only to the backwards. So how to improve in them?
Sure. So, okay, here is an example. My sister doesn't like reading books. Okay. When I
Okay.
was her first child, she was like, "Oh, this is all boring. This is all what you say, difficult, right?"
Okay.
And, it doesn't look cool actually for the younger generation reading books. It's like some only, but you say, Buddhijeevi do it. No normal people don't do it, right? Example. So basically, if you look at neurology, what
Okay.
neurology says is everything is a habit. Everything is a habit. The ability to speak in front of people is also a habit. You do it 100 times, you will eventually get better.
Okay.
I remember in my fourth or fifth standard, there was a story about a person who was discarded away from his Gurukul, and he went and saw a rope near a well, and even the rope could cut a stone. There is a story in Hindi syllabus about it. So similarly, doing something continuously is the process. Now, how do you get to that? For example, if I have a person who is not able to do stage speaking,
Okay.
my first goal is to get him to speak.
Okay.
First, let him speak with his known people. So stage is something where you have unknown people, right? You have fear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
start with known people.
Okay.
Then you can slowly get them to unknown people. First, classroom. Classroom is a little bit unknown. Then you make a few more classes together and you make a better thing. Similarly, you would be able to eventually reach a stage. So it is about practice. Practice makes you perfect most of the time. But that's what I would say. And psychologically, I also use what is called as transaction analysis in my daily life. There's a nice book by Eric Berne called Games That People Play.
Okay, fine.
You might want to look at these two things.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And Malarkadi has an interesting question. At what age do you recognize your aim and how your school and home and school have made? Did you have freedom to walk towards your ambition? So to answer Malarkodi, when I was very young, one thing which kind of fascinated me was suits. Okay, my mom used to take me to when, for example, you need a nice dress for the school annual day, right? So she would ask me to shop around, and I always somehow liked the suits. I kind of looked like that. Of course, it was only by 18 years that I had my first paycheck from Dell, and I bought myself a great suit. And it kind of added me a confidence. And so One is as I started reading more and more, one was of course science. The one good thing that people, I mean, the school helped me was access to books. So I had a library where there was about maybe around 150 to 200 scientific books, and I read all of them. Like my name would still be there in that library, in those book tags as the person who read it. Whether it is more complicated, sometime I read was an MSc level science while I was in like my 8th and 9th standard. It's not that I understood all of it, but I would take some of that and go to my teachers and say, what is this? Can you explain? And teachers would be looking at me and say, what is this guy carrying all the books about? So that was one thing. Now, becoming an entrepreneur actually had I was sitting back in Kerala. After I quit my job. I wanted to do an MBA and all that. And I was thinking, no, not again an MBA. After MBA, what is that I'm going to do? I'm going to do some jobs. So I happened to have a video about, there was a nice Canadian professor. I'll put it also in the chat. It is called as Why You Will Fail to Have a Great Career. The professor's name is called Larry.
Thank you.
And so this is the video. Anyone can make a note of it. I saw his video, got inspired. I wrote him an email. I said, a viewer from India. Interestingly, he did reply to the email. And I got an answer. Wow, I could write to any professor writing in any place and I could get a response. And then I started watching it again and again. Some of the Steve Jobs videos did help me. And then I got myself convinced that this is what I need to do. This is who am I. And also the fact that I left my family in my early young days and I took to Bangalore at 18 years. So it showed my character where I could take highly challenging things and still do better in life. Before I got my job in Dell, I had to literally attend 100 interviews. And I always go to the 101 interview. So that was the character built in for me. I hope that answers. In terms of age, I would say early, usually you discover what you like in your life by the age of 10 or maximum by the age of 17. You know what you love in life as a subject or topic. I hope that answers. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We have one more question from Neelam Nisar.
Yeah, Neelam is, how can I become an entrepreneur as a writer? So Neelam, I do write as well. I used to write a lot in poetry. My best one was 180 lines poetry. So one thing I can tell you is you don't become a poet because suddenly you get someday and say, I want to become a poet, so I'm going to do it. No, it doesn't work that way. A poem flows into your heart and mind. And the poem is an expression of you, especially romantic and symbolic poetry, for example. You could study the poems of John Keats, etc. It's an expression of you. So what you might want to focus is how you can express yourself. If you start focusing on expressing yourself, one, you become a good writer. You don't become a good writer. Let's say I want to write a piece in biotechnology. So, okay, I'll go through all internet and I make something. No, that's just an article. It's not a good writing. A good journalist writing, you could look at the example of New York Times, Reuters, Wall Street sometimes, very fantastic writers. The way they do that is they're somewhat passionate about it. There is an expression, there's a personal thing to it. And once you do that, you create your own expressions, do explore the world more. You will get more expressions. You will start feeling, and your feelings will get converted to words. You will have a fantastic writing things. People love to hear about your experiences and feelings and expressions of the world. They're not for some information seeking. Storytelling is an art as well. There are a few books about storytelling. I can, give me a minute. I can send you this. I have myself collected this. If you read through this, it might help you to understand how to create a plot and things on how to do a storytelling. There it is. It's called as the Hamlet of Holodeck. I'll just type it here. This might help you to understand how to go to Wikipedia as well. You will find information on how to create plots, how the stories are nicely structured. And let me also tell you, everything in humanity is a story, actually. All religions are story based. So there is a reason why these are stories, because stories always stick to your head. People remember stories than facts. That's one thing. And entrepreneurship do a lot of storytelling. Marketing is all about storytelling. It has nothing to do with anything else. So if you're a good storyteller, chances are that you will get people believing in you. And even investors will put in money because you're a good storyteller. Yeah, we can go to the next one.
Okay, sir, we have one more question from YouTube. Question from Taufik. What should I read to become an agricultural entrepreneur? What to read to get new ideas regarding entrepreneur?
Okay, so yeah, are you finished, Meena, or can I start?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. So when I wanted to do my first organic entrepreneurship part of it, one is, if you want to become an agriculture entrepreneur, you should have planted something in your life, in your house. You can't be an agriculture entrepreneur and say that I never, cultivated anything. Whether you cultivate a guava tree or a jackfruit tree, or you're cultivating rice or wheat, is not the problem. Problem is you should have done something. Okay, so you should have that in your, create a vegetable garden or create a garden first. Then you will understand what is the process of cultivation. Once you understand the process of cultivation, you understand how farmers are doing it. You will have a more, you'll be able to relate and create empathy between people. And you have to be someone a bit more close to the environment and nature, because agriculture is very close to the nature. So if you're that type of person, it works for you. And then you actually spend more time in the villages to understand what the real problem of India is people are facing. What you hear in media, what you hear in newspapers, etc., are not the real problems. Go to the ground. So when I was planning to do it in Kerala, I remember I went to Palakkad, I went to Kottayam, Idukki, Chalakudi, Chur. I went to almost, it was 50 degrees hot summer, and I was riding my little Activa and going everywhere. And I was meeting many farmers, collecting data. So you need real work that way. If you're going to sit in your laptop and trying to imagine an agricultural entrepreneur, good luck to you. Mostly it won't happen. So get moving, get out, talk to people, go to the real ground. You will have a better chance of success. That's one thing. Talking about how to read more books on entrepreneurship, you can read most of the biographies like Steve Jobs, also read about Microsoft, Bill Gates. You just need to read some biographies. Elon Musk biographies are a good example as well. Biographies are better because that will give you real understanding. This is a very challenging journey. It's almost a 5-7 years or even sometimes 10 years journey, and you will get exhausted. So it's good to read those books and try to get some information. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else having any questions?
Yeah. Well, we should be open to more questions, and I would love to do some case studies if we have some time. That is, a couple of people could say what they are really facing in their life, if they are open to that, and we could try to solve their problems.
If anyone having any questions, you can ask now. Rakesh sir is waiting for your questions. If you have any difficulty to speak, you can mention it in the chat box. Yes, sir. I think no one is having any doubts.
Okay, so I'll take the time to people love videos. So let me show the video that inspired me. Okay, maybe that will inspire you. So that's one good thing. So this is by Larry Smith, professor at University of Waterloo, Canada, and this is the TEDx event. It was watched by almost a couple of million people, and this is what it is. Why you will fail to have a great career. Listen very attentively, and I'll also put what is called as subtitles, because some of you might have difficulty in understanding English. Let me do that.
I want to discuss with you this afternoon why you're going to fail to have a great career. I'm an economist. I do dismal. End of the day, it's ready for dismal remarks. I only want to talk to those of you who want a great career. I know some of you have already decided you want a good career. You're going to fail too, because you'll cheery about failing. Canadian group, undoubtedly. Those trying to have good careers are going to fail because really good jobs are now disappearing. There are great jobs and great careers. And then there are the high workload, high stress, blood-sucking, soul-destroying kinds of jobs. And practically nothing in between. So the people looking for good jobs are going to fail. I want to talk about those looking for great jobs, great careers, and why you're going to fail. First reason is that no matter how many times people tell you, if you want a great career, you have to pursue your passion, you have to pursue your dreams, you have to pursue the greatest fascination in your life. You hear it again and again, and then you decide not to do it. It doesn't matter how many times you download Stephen Jay's Stanford commencement address. You still look at it and decide not to do it. I'm not quite sure why you decide not to do it. You're too lazy to do it, it's too hard, you're afraid if you look for your passion and don't find it, you'll feel like you're an idiot. So then you make excuses about why you're not going to look for your passion. And they are excuses, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go through a whole long list. Your creativity and thinking of excuses not to do what you really need to do if you want to have a great career. So for example, one of your great excuses is, well, great careers are really and truly, for most people, just a matter of luck. So I'm going to stand around and I'm going to try to be lucky, and if I'm lucky, I'll have a great career. If not, I'll have a good career. But a good career is an impossibility, so that's not going to work. Then your other excuse is, yes, there are special people who pursue their passions, but they are geniuses. They are Stephen Jay. I'm not a genius. When I was 5, I thought I was a genius, but my professors have beaten that idea out of my head long since. And now I know I am completely competent. Now you see, if this was 1950, being completely competent, that would have given you a great career. But guess what? This is almost 2012, and saying to the world, I am totally, completely competent, is damning yourself with the faintest of praise. And then, of course, another excuse. Well, I would do this, but after all, I'm not weird. Everybody knows that people who pursue their passions are somewhat obsessive, a little strange. Okay, you know, a fine line between madness and genius. I'm not weird. I've read Stephen Jay's biography. Oh my goodness. I'm not that person. I am nice. I am normal. I'm a nice, normal person. And nice, normal people don't have passion. But I still want a great career. I'm not prepared to pursue my passion, so I know what I'm going to do, because I have a solution, I have a strategy. It's the one Mommy and Daddy told me about. Mommy and Daddy told me that if I worked hard, I'd have a good career. So, if you work hard and have a good career, If you work really hard, you'll have a great career. Doesn't that mathematically make sense? Not. But you've managed to talk yourself into that. You know what? Here's a little secret. You want to work? You want to work really hard? You know what? You'll succeed. The world will give you the opportunity to work really hard. But are you so sure that that's going to give you a great career when all the evidence is to the contrary? So let's assume, let's deal with those of you who are trying to find your passion. You actually understand that you really had better do it. Never mind the excuses. You're trying to find your passion, and you're so happy. You found something you're interested in. I have an interest. You tell me. You say, I have an interest. I say, that's wonderful. And what are you trying to tell me? Well, I have an interest. I say, do you have a passion? I have an interest, you say. Your interest is compared to what? Well, I'm interested in this. And what about the rest of humanity's activities? I'm not interested in them. You've looked at them all, have you? No, not exactly. Passion is your greatest love. Passion is the thing that will help you create the highest expression of your talent. Passion, interest, it's not the same thing. Are you really going to go to your sweetie and say, marry me? You are interesting. Won't happen. Won't happen, and you'll die alone. What you want is passion. It is beyond interest. You need 20 interests, and then one of them might grab you, one of them might engage you more than anything else, and then you may have found your greatest love in comparison to all the other things that interest you. And that's what passion is. That friend proposed to his sweetie. He was an economically rational person. He said to his sweetie, let us marry. Let us merge our interests. Yes, he did. I love you truly, he said. I love you deeply. I love you more than any other woman I've ever encountered. I love you more than Mary, Jane, Susie, Penelope, Ingrid, Gertrude, Gretel. I was on a German exchange program then. I love you more than Kenneth. All right. She left the room halfway through his enumeration of his love for her. After he got over his surprise at being, turned down, he concluded he'd had a narrow escape from marrying an irrational person. Although he did make a note to himself that the next time he proposed, it was perhaps not necessary to enumerate all of the women he had auditioned for the part. But the point stands, you must look for alternatives so that you find your destiny. Or are you afraid of the word destiny? The word destiny scare you. That's what we're talking about. And if you don't find the highest expression of your talent, if you settle for interesting, whatever that means, do you know what will happen at the end of your long life? Your friends and family will gather in the cemetery, and there, beside your grave site, will be a tombstone, and inscribed on that tombstone, it will say, here lies a distinguished engineer who invented Velcro. But what that tombstone should have said in an alternative lifetime, what it should have said if it was your highest expression of talent, was here lies the last Nobel laureate in physics, who formulated the grand unified field theory and demonstrated the practicality of warp drive. Velcro indeed. One was a great career. One was a missed opportunity. But then there are some of you, in spite of all these excuses, you will find your passion. And you'll still fail. You're going to fail because you're not going to do it. Because you have invented a new excuse. Any excuse to fail, to take action. And this excuse I've heard so many times. Yes, I would pursue a great career, but a value. Human relationships, more than accomplishment. I want to be a great friend. I want to be a great spouse. I want to be a great parent. And I will not sacrifice them on the altar of great accomplishment. What do you want me to say? No, do you want me to say now, tell you, really, I swear, I don't kick children. Look at the worldview you've given yourself. You're a hero no matter what. And I, by suggesting, ever so delicately, that you might want a great career, must take children. I don't take children. I don't kick them. Yes, there was a little kid wandering through this building when I came here. And no, I didn't kick him. Of course, I had to tell him the building was for adults only and to get out. He mumbled something about his mother, and I told him she'd probably find him outside anyway. Last time I saw him, he was on the stairs crying. What a wimp. Well, what do you mean? That's what you expect me to say. Do you really think it's appropriate that you should actually take children and use them as a shield? You know what will happen someday? You ideal parent, you. The kid will come to you someday and say, I know what I want to be. I know what I'm going to do with my life. You were so happy. It's the conversation a parent wants to hear because your kid's good at math and you know you're going to like what comes next. Says your kid, I have decided I want to be a magician.
this helped you a little bit because since I don't know if some parents are here in this as well. Of all the other people, you're going to have kids sometime in your life. And that kid will say, as said in the video, I'm going to become a magician. And you're going to say, oh, you don't want that to be done. You're not going to do that because you're good in mathematics or whatever. So that will be the problem that you will face in your life. You will not be able to say to that kid, go and pursue it, because you did not do it. So whatever it is that you think is your passion and love, you have to take some action and go for it. Otherwise, you are having fear, and fear is what stops you from doing anything. And so the best suggestion I can give is don't have fear, move out, explore the world, find what you love, do what it is necessary. And if someone is thinking that by passing a course or having a degree, you're going to have a great career, sorry, it's 2020 now. Companies hire only the best of people who have passion and who have great knowledge. They don't hire people just because you have something. So what I would say that mirage has to be removed, and you have to become passionate about something and pursue it. Any other questions we can? Otherwise, Meena, I think we are almost time to wrap up as well. And yeah, I'm free for maybe some more time if required.
Yes, sir. If anyone having any questions, you can ask. Sir, can you please share your contact?
Sure.
Someone have given the questions, we can forward it to you.
I'll just type it in chat.
Yeah, it's okay. And we are expecting your material also. You can share it later.
Sure. I think it will be, you are anyway recording the session, so I've put most of the things. Yeah, that's a good question about failures. And yeah, most of the time people can reach out to me in Facebook or any of that. Well, unfortunately, I don't have a YouTube channel, Roar, because I'm not doing this for a living. So if I was a motivational teacher, yes, maybe sometime later, but not right now. I'm not a motivational teacher. I still have my own startup and to do. So that's the reason why I don't get into that marketing part of it, YouTube channel, etc. But maybe sometime later in life, as I learn more about my own startup and failure, maybe that might be a good time to do that. Some of the failures, most of the time, failures occur, especially if you're starting an organization. The first part to understand is that cash is the blood of the company. It's like blood of your bodies. So if you have cash, you will survive. If you don't have cash, you will die. So the greatest thing about starting a startup is to get surviving. If you survive for 5 years, you would most likely be successful. Most of the time people fail is because they don't get enough cash or they don't take enough help from people. For example, when my company was started, we were short of cash. Obviously, we had almost zero money with us. In the first 6 months, we were able to get a program in US where they gave us $20,000, which is like 15 lakhs. We burned all that money, and by the next 6 months, we were again almost like we hired people and all that. We were short of cash. We got another program in US in Colorado where they gave us $30,000, 20 lakhs. So we took that money. So 50 lakhs we spent almost in a year and a half. We were about to again run out of money. We got a customer who paid us money, a big law firm, UK and US based. Again, we were running out of money, and I had an opportunity to go to Ireland. So I took that, and that's how I got it. And again, while in Ireland, I was again almost going to run out of money. My next investors came in, and I got survived. So interestingly, I was able to raise money during this COVID time. It is a very hard time to raise money in the market. because everything is shutting down and you have to raise money. Very hard job, but we were able to do it. So that's one thing. Your first piece of failure is because of cash. Second is the team. Even if you have cash, if you don't have a great team, it's going to fail. For example, my team stuck together. We helped each other. I took some time, took personal loans from my other founder, or I borrowed money. He borrowed money from me, all that. So your team has to stuck together, and that will only happen if all of you are committed for the same dream. So that is one. That is one thing. And if you're doing something great, people will more likely to help you. If you're going to do something interesting, nobody is interested in you. So you can be a little bit more aggressive in this journey. You just have to do something. If you're going to say to someone that I'm going to do, as said in the video, time warp, that is the technology using which you can do time travel. It's something for research if you want. But if you're going to say something that people will be interesting, and if you're going to say, I'm going to just open a shop in somewhere in the world and in my locality, and I want to do grocery selling, there may not be people interested in that. So ideas do have some importance. So idea, team, and cash. These are the fundamentals of business. Yeah.
Okay.
And don't worry about failure, because there are many companies who love people who have taken risk. So if you have failed, not a problem, because you will build enough industry contacts. So for example, I work now with people in 3 geographies, people who are created companies, exited those companies. Then I even have board advisors, is Harvard educated, a doctor, couple of MBAs from Stanford and other things. So you build a network. And if your startup is failure, honestly, if you do well things and still it fails, people will come back and some of them will even hire you. So you will not be, you will not be looking for job in the market. The market will look for you. The talent is very valuable.
Okay, sir. Hope we can conclude the session.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your inspiring and thought-provoking session. And we have to mention one thing, sir. Last 1.5 hours, we were really motivated. So you have to start the motivational speeches also. We are expecting, all the participants are expecting such sessions soon. And on behalf of Computer Science Department, I thank for your timely help. Once again, I thank each and everyone for attending the session. Now, it's time to read. Please note, participants, you'll be getting a feedback link in the chat box. You can fill the form and you'll be getting the speech certificates within 2-3 days. Once again, thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure. And I hope I was able to add some value, but definitely open to any feedbacks and things that I can improve on.
Surely, sir. We are collecting the feedback from participants. Surely, we will inform you.
Sure.
And now,
hello.
yes.
Hello. സാറിന്റെ ക്ലാസ് എല്ലാം സൂപ്പറായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഹലോ, സാർ കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, പറഞ്ഞോളൂ.
സാറിന്റെ ക്ലാസ് എല്ലാം സൂപ്പറായിട്ടുണ്ട്. യൂസ്ഫുൾ ക്ലാസ് ആണ് സാറിന്റെ.
ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു.
എല്ലാം യൂസ്ഫുൾ ആണ് സാറിന്റെ ക്ലാസ്.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, we don't know your name, heart and soul. He has attended all the webinar sessions. Thanks for your comments. Anyone else want to share your feedback? Okay. It's a not for participants. You'll be getting a feedback link in the chat box. You can fill the form and you'll be getting the e-certificates within 7 days. So no need to worry about this. You just fill the feedback form. Okay. Now, let me invite Assistant Professor Mr. Praveen to deliver the vote of thanks.
Respected Director of Yuvakshetra College, Reverend Dr. Matthew George Vail, Principal Dr. Tommy Anthony, Vice Principal Reverend Dr. Lalu Olikal, today's resource person Mr. Rakesh Ramachandran, Head of the Department of Computer Science Ms. Meena Jose Komban, researchers, faculties, students, and my dear colleagues. I deem it as a great honor to thank you all on behalf of Department of Computer Science. First of all, I extend my most sincere thanks to Almighty God for making this 3-day international webinar on Light My Fire, a spark for career building. First and foremost, I thank our today's resource person, Mr. Rakesh Ramachandran, for the interesting and highly informative speech. Thank you, sir. Then I would like to specifically thank all the previous resource persons in the last 2 days of international webinar. Mr. Jeevas Vasudevan, Solution Architect, Singtel Optus, Australia. Ms. Jelena Sunny, Early Stage Researcher, University of Liverpool, United Kingdom. Thank you all for your informative section. I extend my deep sense of gratitude to Yuvakshetra College Management, Director Reverend Dr. Matthew George Vail, Principal Dr. Tommy Anthony, Vice Principal Reverend Dr. Lalu Olikal for the encouragement and guidance provided. I would like to thank our beloved Head of the Department, Ms. Meena Jose Komban, for the moral support and guidance provided from the start to the end of this webinar. As no program can be successful with a single person, and even like this cannot happen overnight. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues. Thank you all. I also extend my sincere thanks to all well-wishers and technical teams. Thank you all. Last but not least, I thank all the participants who made this webinar a grand success. Once again, I am thanking you each and everyone on behalf of Department of Computer Science and Yuvakshetra College. Thank you all.
Thank you, Praveen sir. Yes, one more announcement. And we are honored to have Mr. Rakesh sir. He agreed to reschedule today's session on the next week on the topic debugging in the crisis. And we'll send you the rescheduled details about the sessions through email. Those who are interested can participate, expecting your support. Once again, I thank all of you, especially Mr. Rakesh Ramachandran. We had a wonderful time with you, sir. And all the participants who made it a successful webinar session. On behalf of Computer Science, Yuvakshetra College, I thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jayasudha. And it's a pleasure interacting with you all. And I should say this is the closest to the college that I'm getting in my life. So it's always an interesting journey to have.
Thank you, sir.
Burns the bridges in my head by lighting up. She burns.